Okay, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do a graphic for a four-phase diamond intersection. So the first thing we're going to do off the main menu is go to Administration and Unit Information and make sure that I'm running a four-phase diamond database. Once that's done, I'm going to jump right in and start with the intersection display configuration. So when I click on it, it brings up the Java plugin, and I have to allow it to run against this location. So if you've got a different IP address, you may have to change your security settings in Java. So I click Run. Now you notice that I'm doing this in Firefox and not Chrome. Chrome has shut off all their plugin support, so I have to do it in Internet Explorer or Java. So I start with a blank slate here, a blank screen. And it's really simple. I just add a new intersection and I can move it any place I want. And what I want to do is offset it by 200. So it's going to be to the right of the next intersection by 200, and I'm at 90 degrees. If I wanted it to be 200 higher than the original intersection, I would put angle 0 and it would be a vertical. But I'm going to do a horizontal first because it fits easier on my screen. So now that I got my intersection, I add a new road and I swing it around to the top here at the 12 o'clock position. And I'm going to add a departure lane. I click on my intersection again and I add a new road. And I slide it up to my 3 o'clock position. And I'm going to add an approach and another approach. And I click on my departure lane and add a second departure lane. So I click on my intersection, add the third approach, which will be this guy over here. And I'm going to add a couple of approaches, and then add a departure. Click on my intersection. I add my last one, which is going to be 2 approaches, but no departures. So I'm going to delete that guy. So this intersection is good. So I'm going to slide it over, and I'm going to add another intersection, which will be the other half of the diamond. So when I put that in, I can drag it out of the way, or I can pull this one up out of the way. I just want to work on this intersection. So I add another new road. This time at the 12 o'clock position, I need the 2 approaches and no departures. So I'll delete that. And I click on my intersection again and I add a new road. And I'll slide it up to the 9 o'clock position. Then I'll click on the intersection and add a new road and drag it up to my 3 o'clock position. Click on the intersection again and add a new road. This time I want 2 approaches and no, I wanted approaches up here. I wanted 2 departures. Oh, I'm sorry about that. So I just highlight, select delete, highlight, select delete. So when I click over here, I'm going to add a couple of approaches, 1 departure. On this side, it's going to be a couple of approaches, 1 departure. So now all I have to do is add my phases and my overlaps, kind of line things up a little bit. Try to get them as straight as I can. It makes it a little prettier. It's take a little time, so I can drag this one over here and drag this one over here. Once I get all my lanes in, I always like to hit save so I don't lose it. So now I'm going to add my phases and my overlaps to this diamond intersection. And I know that phase 2 and 6 are the only true phases I have in a diamond. So I'm going to click on this approach and drag it to a departure. And that's going to be my phase 2. So I would put phases in here for protected, put a 2 in. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the next approach, make it phase 2. Slide it over here and do the same thing for phase 6 across, make it phase 6. And I want 2 of those, make that phase 6. Notice it's a little crooked. A little easier if I go full screen to see the lineup, but that's not bad. So now I got 2 and 6 in. I'll open up another screen to show my overlaps. So when I go into my overlap screen, I have overlap 1 and overlap A and B, which is overlap 1 and overlap 2. So this left turn here is phase 1, so my through movement overlap is straight across. So it's going to be overlap 1. And then, of course, the overlap on the other side is going to be overlap 2. So now I got my two through movement overlaps. I need to put in my phase 4 overlap. So if I drag it straight down, you don't want to put in phase 4 because it's really 4 plus 12. So if we go back and we look at our overlaps again, 4 plus 12 is overlap 11. And so we go to overlaps, put in 11. We drag the next one down, make it overlap 11. Then we go across and we're going to do the phase 8, which is actually overlap 14. So click overlap, put in 14, do the next one, it's overlap 14. And when I go back to my overlap screen, notice that 14 is really 8 plus 16. So 16 is my carryover phase. So we can run when phase 2 is on where 8 conflicts. In the same way with the 4 plus 12. We're not going to use overlap 10 and overlap 13 because we don't have those legs. We would use those if we had two-way frontage roads. But now we got to put our left turns in. So phase 1 is really 1 plus 9 plus 10, which is overlap 9. So we're going to go back here, drag this over here, and make this overlap 9. Then we go to this side. We want to look at those overlaps again. So the phase 5 overlap is 12. It's 5 plus 13 plus 14. So we have these internal clearance overlaps. So if we skip a phase 2 or 6, we go to an internal clearance movement. So we just put overlap 12 in. So when we bring it up here full screen and hit save, I have all my overlaps and all my phases. Well, this is the editor screen, and what we really want to do is see it in the status screen. And under the status screen, it's fine to use Chrome or any browser because once it's created, it doesn't need the Java for the drawing capability. So when I go to statuses, and I go to intersection display, I get my full graphic display. So we're in phase 6. We're coming across. We have our delay. Up comes our through movements. We'll go to phase 8 now. So these are already green, so we're passing cars right through. We're timing out the left turn, which is our phase 1, because we're bringing up the other side. We can keep the overlap on because it doesn't conflict. Oh, I got phase 2 here, so that's wrong because that's really overlap 2. I'm going to have to go back, so that's fine. I just simply go back to administration, go back to my intersection display. It starts up the Java again. Now when it comes in, it places one on top of the other. It gives it a 0 reference. So all we really have to do is just drag them out of the way of each other. So if this is the up movement, then it's going to look like this. And when I click on this guy here, it's an overlap, not a phase, because we got to have that delay in there. So we hit save on that. So you can watch it in the editor screen just to get a feel for what's happening. So phase 2 is on. We close down with phase 16 timer, and then the Overlap left turn on 5 and overlap 2 is on green. It stays on green through 4 because it's coming up next. We're going to terminate the left turn to bring on 6, have the delay of 12 to bring up the other guy. Let's just go look at the status one more time. I think we have it right, but it's always good to look in the status screen. So we'll go around. So we're basically in a phase 8. We went to 16 when 9 turned yellow. Back to phase 2. We're terminating the phase 8. The frontage road, because we're bringing up our left turn and overlap 2. Phase 4 just came on. It feeds through into the greens. We go to phase 6. Notice we still have green here while 6 comes on because we're in the 12 timer, which is compatible. So wrap it around, we're in good shape. And that's how you do it.